opted for Primke over Sean White. And Tingay, who has got Costa, who picked him up last time at the Western Oval.
So here we go. Another knockout final coming your way on 7. Ideal conditions as Simon Atkins soccers one down towards the right half forward flank area. It's pushed wide. First to it is Norris. Swings it round towards centre wing. In that position, great tackle. Spills to Liberatore, gets it across to Costa. He's under pressure. Spills free. Norris once again for his second touch. Tingay in trouble, trying to go back to Norris again. Good tackling, good pressure, and over the line on the outer side.
Yeah, well, that was a fair hip and shoulder there by Tingay, with that Atkins kicking the ball off the ground there. Instantaneously, there was good pressure, as you would expect early in the final.
Irving wins it. West tried to get free. The umpire's letting the whistle go and letting play go on. Hunter claimed by Lovett, but he gets his kick down towards centre wing. West a chance for the Dogs. Kicks up towards centre half forward. No mark taken. In front, but unable to hold it was Andy Lovell. Now an opportunity for Cameron. Wobbles it down towards full forward. Which way will it bounce? Away from the Dogs. And they can start something up here. Cleared to Lovett. Brett Lovett on the half-back flank. Well smothered and over the line.
Just a costly fumble there by Brett Lovett. A simple chest mark. And again, the finals pressure. You just cannot work it out which way it will go.
And we've already mentioned the conditions here, the weather conditions prevailing in Melbourne this afternoon. Just a little blustery breeze. This is Brett Lovett again. Can't control it. Steve Wallace went in. Viney, now Lovell. Lovell playing his 100th game with Stephen Tingay. The ball in the direction of centre-half forward for Melbourne. The kick by Tingay goes wide. The opportunity now with Matthew Phoebe outside 50 metres. He kicks to the square. It bounces in the square. Krediuk hurries it over for the first score. A rush behind to Melbourne. The bench for Footscray.
Scott Allen, Anthony Darcy, and the other one at the end there is Brad Nicholson.
Kick in by Krediuk. To the far side. Out there, looks for and cannot find number 16 there for Footscray is Matthew Croft, and the ball bundled over for a throw-in. It's about, well, it's probably 2 kicks from Melbourne's goal now. And we have a look at what happened earlier in the season at the MCG in round 8, a 3-point win for the Bulldogs. And of course, Footscray comprehensive over Melbourne at the Western Oval in round 23. And they get the ball down towards the wing, do the Bulldogs. It comes to the back. Callan, very quick. He's kicked towards full forward. Clears the players there. Back is Neats. Neats short ball handling. Little kick. Goes a bit too far there for Dyson. Back goes Viney. Viney for Melbourne from left half back.
Over the line but touched. Well done. Tony Liberatore.
He's a champion, isn't he, Libber? Fantastic tackler. Best tackler in the competition. Led the competition again this year, probably about the 3rd year in a row.
Sets a marvellous example. Viney to Dyson. Kevin Dyson floats a hand pass. It's going to be stolen again. Footscray doing the bulk of the attack, although Melbourne have got the 1 point on the board. It's on their half-forward line at the moment. Sean White comes away. He steadies as he kicks up over the centre. No mark taken. Past Lovell. Gilbert follows it down. Still going, Phil Gilbert. Eventually loses it. Thrown out the back door by Atkins. In fact, it was Malloy. Now Atkins again. Goes up towards the half-forward line. Melbourne have the numbers. Phoebe couldn't take the mark. Kellett's got pace. Soccers it off the ground. Into the pocket he goes. Here comes Neats. He's got to beat a couple. Puts his body over the ball. Holds it up for a moment or two. Thrown up in the air. In all sorts of trouble. Hilton. Was that deliberate?
It was deliberate, but the umpire's not avoiding it. An enormous pressure there being applied by both sides.
What about the attempted hand pass by Primke? Was a bit suspect.
Yeah, a bit suspect. And also the little tunnel ball from Simon Atkins as Sandy called a throw.
From the throw in. Chance for Neats. Short little chip, and he's gone straight to Richard Osborne.
Richard Osborne, who's been a very good pickup for Footscray after spending a year at Sydney, has kicked 32 goals for the season, 32 goals 20, and has also given Footscray another option up on that forward line alongside Chris Grant. He's being picked up by Sean White.
Just inside 40 metres. Richard Osborne's kick for goal is 1 behind.
They're the sort of chances Richard's got to nail. And Footscray to have any chance. They must make the most of their opportunities. The Doggies early in the game.
Yes, we saw a lot of chances go begging in the match yesterday, and I'm a little bit with you there, Bernie, and class players can't afford to miss from reasonable margins, especially when you can get the distance quite simply. This is Stephen Phoebe for the Demons. He kicks to the far side, the outer side, looks out there for Sean White, and White takes a straightforward mark in front of his face at left half back for Melbourne. His kick goes towards centre wing. Southern punches from Schwarz. At ground level is Scotty West. He just gets his left foot to it. Fortunately for him, it didn't cover a lot of ground, but in the finish he gets a free kick for a push in the back.
And a good contributor too, Scotty West on the wing. He started off as a rover forward pocket, but since being given the latitude in that on that wing position has really blossomed.
Big punch by Neitz. Tingay, little hand pass. Norrish, then Lovell. Lovell's kick to half forward for Melbourne. Malloy onto it, but Southern was terrific in that contest. He wanted that footy and he got it. Kick forward by Rowan Smith. Goes over for a boundary throw in right near where the players, well, at least the Footscray players, enter this arena.
Standing Southern, there's no worries about his contesting capabilities. He'll give it 100%.
Irving again trying to get front spot. The Stanfield is claimed. He's got the football, and a bounce will take place.
One of the matchups. Steve Wallace is picking up Matthew Phoebe on one wing.
Punters liking Melbourne, 5-2 on. Footscray 13-8 against. But very early days. Viney in trouble. Tried to eventually sock it off the ground, but they just lock it up. West is finally taken away from the football as Jim Steins looks on with Hilton, and a bounce will take place. And a couple of lookalikes, Hilton and Hopgood to name two. Dyson's kick partly smothered. Costa over the boundary line on the outer side.
Just having a look at the Melbourne forward line, Sandy. Garry line's being picked up by Steve Creddyhook. Matthew Croft has Martin Pike. And Rowan Smith is picking up Malloy.
Stanfield and Irving, the latter doing the work from behind. Wins at Dyson, couldn't take it away, however. Stanfield claimed. Atkins in there working hard, can't get it out. Eventually does. He shovels it forward to Kellum, who's pretty quick. Gets the hand pass away. This should result in a score for the Dogs. In towards Reynolds over the top and just touched on the line for one behind. Great desperation. Finals desperation. 2 points on the board.
They just couldn't get enough height on that kick there, Brad Johnson.
So the kick in on this occasion to be done by Primke, and something that is synonymous now with fullbacks. They just hang on to it until they can see a player to get it away to. Tingay took the mark at centre half back, away to his fellow 100 gamer Andy Lovell, and a great mark. Superior strength there. They both tried to body each other, but it's taken by Schwarz. Short kick into the pocket. Good lead, good mark is taken by Pike. Pike is about 30 metres out, maybe a little closer, but a very tight angle confronting Martin Pike. He's been certainly a goal-kicking forward for the Demons over the latter part of this season. Martin Pike from the right forward pocket, kicks for goal. It's close. I think it may be behind. It is. So the scores are level, 2 points apiece, and we're about halfway through the first term.
Schwarz has been averaging 7 marks a game at centre-half forward for the Demons. He's had a magnificent year playing in that position.
It's going to be great to see his duel with Danny Southern as Rowan Smith goes to the outer side. Atkins forced to fly from behind, but he does well to soccer it forward down towards centre wing. Hunter goes even further forward. The Dogs a chance to set something up here through West. West spears it into half forward. Grand play to Chris Grant.
Magnificent, wasn't it? One end of the ground to the other. Lovely long kick out from fullback from Rowan Smith. And what delivery that was. Full forward's delight there coming from Scott West. Chris Grant playing game number 100 here this afternoon at the MCG.
And only 21 years old. He's got a wonderful future ahead of him. He's made the distance, but he's away to the right. So a nervous start by both sides in front of goal. Point the difference.
Obviously the blustery wind conditions causing some problems for shooting for goal. Sean White, this is the third different Melbourne player to kick in. Kicks it out wide. Primke off to Todd Viney. Costa number 12 for Footscray, but Todd Viney's kick in the direction of Schwarz. Back goes Southern, falls and carries the ball over for a throw-in. Heavy padding on his right shoulder, and he looked as though he was tucking something back in underneath there. Maybe the tape hasn't taken. It looks as though it's holding maybe a bit of a sponge type material on the top of his shoulder there.
He had that last week as well.
This is Glenn Lovett for Melbourne. Hand pass in towards centre half forward. Brett Lovett got enough time to recover. Back to Glenn. Tackle ineffective by Smith, but good by Liberatore. Ball spills for Garry Lyon. Spins out of trouble and kicks the first goal of the game. Absolutely magnificent football by the Melbourne captain Garry Lyon to kick his first and Melbourne's first goal.
Yes, what a player, Garry Lyon. Here we see a couple of attempted tackles. Libba did his best there to smother that kick there from Glenn Lovett. I didn't think it was a great effort there from Hunter in the tackling department. He really allowed Garry Lyon to brush past him fairly easily.
5 points the margin, favouring the Demons. West picks it up, pumps it high to half forward for the Dogs. No mark taken. Here's an opportunity for Osborne just outside 50. Atkins tries to do the shepherding, but Osborne gets clear. 51 metres out. In towards full forward. There's been a whistle. It's got to come back.
It's a goal. It's a goal, isn't it?
I think he may. Let me see. Well, I can't believe this.
Well, why did Atkins come in? He came in and remonstrated.
Irving off the ground, Stein's on. That's come a little bit earlier. Here's the free kick.
Well, there's no free kick there for starters.
Well, what's going on? Why has it been brought back, Robert?
Well, it was too high, but I'd think if he had have kicked a goal, wouldn't you think the umpire would say all clear?
Well, Reynolds had taken the mark in the square.
Well, let's have a look at the kick anyway. It's rushed over eventually for one behind. Some interesting lines there. It's too high, no free kick. However, the bottom line is one behind, and it's 4 points the difference with Big Jim on, as we said, and Irving having a spell. This is the same ploy that was used last week by Neil Barr. Kick is pinpointed to Jason Norrish. Norrish's kick over the head of Lovett. He's got the player waiting down though in Malloy. Through the centre goes Dyson. Kevin Dyson wobbles one down towards half forward. What's the bounce like for Lyon? It's good, but his hand passes astray. Rowan Smith comes through for the Dogs. Kicks straight into the man on the mark. That was Phoebe. Picked up by Liberatore. Back towards centre wing and he finds Wallace. Wallace goes on with it to the outer side and Johnson. He's got a bit of time. Just gets his kick eventually. They closed in very rapidly. Good strong mark taken in that position by Robert West. Robert and Scotty West out on this ground today. In towards half forward Reynolds. Plays on. Snap by Kellett. The Dogs have their first.
I think he was called to play on there, Sandy. Keenan Reynolds, who played on the forward line last week. There he is talking to the umpire about the mark there, Brian Sheehan. The kick coming from Robert West into the forward line. Well, I don't know why that wasn't awarded, but the umpire had called play on, and it didn't matter in the end. A lovely goal there to Nigel Kellett.
Back in the middle once more. This time it's Melbourne down towards their half-forward line, and Schwarz takes the mark. From 55 metres out, he lets one go. It's long in towards full forward. And it's a good, strong mark. Taken on the very last line of defence. Pressure on this young Bulldog defence. Real pressure. Look at that kick. Out of bounds, but not on the full as Danny Southern goes steaming into the fence. Crediuk, big job for him today.
He'll stand up to the pressure. Don't worry about Crediuk.
Had a big job last week.
Had a very big job.
Well, this man in the Footscray jumper here has got a big job, Barry Stanfield. Melbourne forced the ball back towards half forward. Collected by Rowan Smith. Gets it to Hunter. Hunter held onto it, and that was fairly important because he had to wait the kick for Costa. Away goes the handball to Crediuk. Crediuk down towards the wing. It goes past Robbie West. The advantage is now with Hopgood, but the ball spills now for Osborne. Osborne's kick is weighted into half forward. Too far there for West. That's a push in the back, surely. If it's not, it's holding the man, and it will go to Footscray to be taken by Robert West. Being held onto was the indication from the umpire. The short pass is okay, Cameron.
That'll be nearly 50.
And I tell you what, if he'd have fallen over, it certainly would have been.
It was Norwich doing the pushing.
Umpire still beckoning for Norwich to come back 1.5 metres closer to goal for Cameron. So Footscray doing well in the early part of this game. They're 1-4 leading Melbourne 1-2. Cameron shot for goal. He's offline, and offline by a long way. It's missed altogether. So it's a free kick in that left back pocket to be taken for Melbourne, as we see Jeff Hilton on the bench for the Demons. But this is Brett Lovett for Melbourne to kick them out of danger.
Under 10 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Lovett's kick is good. His namesake is at the back of the pack, and now Andy Lovell, a chance to run. Atkins closes on him, but he gets his kick down towards half forward. Southern couldn't quite get a hand to it. Schwarz, it may open the door for the Schwarzer. Too wide.
Should have gone for the little left foot kick to the front of the square. Both those boys, Pike and Lyon, were making position.
Well, he kicked a couple of miraculous goals last week against Carlton, so I suppose that'll be in his mind also. Robert, sorry to mention Carlton again.
Oh, forget it, boys, please.
Ready to the outer side. Big pack of players, but David Schwarz comes over the top and takes a screamer.
3 marks already to David Schwarz.
Call to play on. Can't quite get round Southern. Lovett has it.
Well, Hunter's not happy. Only time I've ever seen veins stick out in someone's neck more than that was when I've seen David Parkin address the Carlton players at quarter time and three-quarter time.
You're right.
So from the bounce, Liberatore tries to get it through towards Rowan Smith. Look at Liberatore in there once again. What an example he sets.
Yes, a great little player, Tony Liberatore. Melbourne leading in the hit-outs. And a ruck contest at half forward. Steins gets it down, but it's Southern for Footscray. Gets his right foot to it. Close to the boundary line. Costa and Matthew Phoebe. And the umpire gives the all clear for the boundary umpire to throw it in. So both players recovering there, Costa and Matthew Phoebe, Alan Joyce, and the free kicks in favour of the Bulldogs. Boundary throw in, left half forward for Melbourne. Steins gets his left fist to it. Can't really clear the pack, so the umpire will have to bounce. It's about 75 metres from the Melbourne goal in their left half forward area. Footscray lead 1-4, Melbourne are 1-2.
With just on 8 minutes remaining, Steins doing the work from the back. The high kick has got to see Danny Southern sit and wait. Showed courage. Crediop goes storming through. Liberatore at the bottom of the pack. Gives it out to Costa. Kim Costa around his body goes up towards centre wing. The bouncing ball is good for Sean White initially. Steins under a bit of pressure. White goes in to try and take it back again. Eventually runs out of room.
They've been pretty good early, Footscray, the way they've pressurised Melbourne. They put a lot of pressure on them.
Steins to do the ruck work with Stanfield. Lovell and Lovett. Now Sean White again. In towards Schwarz. Used the body and just plucks it with one hand. Couldn't quite hold it. Southern defends over the line.
He's got a big job, Danny Southern. Tough job on David Schwarz. Already Schwarz has taken 3 marks. Attempted, he did everything right and then just couldn't drag it in at the end.
Did not stick. Southern fists it with the left hand, then applies the tackle. He's got a pit bull terrier and a shark as a pet, Danny Southern. There's 2 pets. It's time he contests. Straight down to West. Good young player, Scotty West. Towards centre wing. Osborne. Had front spot. Couldn't hold the mark.
Yeah, maybe should have held that one, Richard. Just unfortunately lets himself down at times in those sort of situations.
Centre wing, boundary throw in, Stanfield and Steins. Steins tries to take it out of the contest and being held onto, according to the umpire. So Jimmy Steins will take the free kick on centre wing.
Ironical cheers from the Melbourne supporters for their first free kick of the game.
Well, I suppose there's a bit of logic behind that, but only 4 Footscray. Shocking kick by Steins. Gatherers by Tingay. Tingay with his 4th possession, kicks to full forward. Great mark. A sign of a really good player. That mark taken by Garry Lyon. 40 metres out, perhaps a little closer, and pretty well straight in front.
Well, there's no doubt about that. He is a wonderful player, Garry Lyon, the Melbourne captain. 192 centimetres. And Steve Prediuk, 183.
Will get the distance easily. And no problems with the accuracy. Second goal to Melbourne. Two they are, the Demons. Footscray are 1-4, and of course Garry Lyon has kicked both of Melbourne's goals.
Well, Steve Prediuk had to endure a shocking first quarter last week with Gary Ablett kicking 5 goals in that term. Already he's got his problems with the leading and manoeuvrability of the Melbourne skipper, who is a wonderful focal point.
Melbourne by 4 points, and they go down towards the half-forward line once again. Johnson couldn't take it for the Scrays. Tackled by Smith, could have almost been high. Liberatore taking the ground. And Melbourne fans not happy. Liberatore has the free kick.
Looked a pretty good tackle to me, Sandy.
Good mark on the centre wing, taken by Simon Atkins. And the Dogs answer the Garry Lyon goal. He spears it in towards half-forward. Neitz took it on his own. He's done well this year. Goes to the outer side. Dyson a chance. Up towards half-forward. Smith got front position and is going to take a free kick, but maybe a little soft.
Maybe, but at least he's putting himself in the right position to be awarded the free kick.
In front, correct. Into the middle. Chris Grant a long way out. No one in the square, so he drifts it down towards Cameron on half-forward. Leon Cameron tucked in the pocket. He can kick miraculous goals. Not on this occasion. He goes out of bounds on the full.
Well, he has kicked a couple of miraculous goals this year. And that's a similar situation to that one here at the MCG and one out at Waverley, but obviously I think that would have been in the back of his mind, Robbo.
Yeah, but on that occasion he was probably better maybe to duck back onto that right
there's
foot.
no doubt. That's where the percentages are. Definitely better to duck back and get it to the top of the square.
Neitz kicks towards half-back. Steins nearly takes it. It's handball clear. Dyson, can he break clear? Scotty West, good persistence. Liberatore bails it all up there at left half-forward for Footscray, and we'll have a ball up. Umpire officiating here is Brian Sheehan, his fellow men in white, Chris Mitchell and Grant Vernon, for this very important game. Of course, the winner has the opportunity to play the West Coast next weekend, and the loser bows out. So all the incentive to win this match. This is Steins. Lovell getting a few possessions in towards the centre. Viney leaves it for Brent Lovett. Forced to kick with the left foot. Not all that good, but it gets it towards half-forward. It spills now again for Tingay. Tingay's kick, brilliantly marked. Well done, Danny Southern. And he holds up that promising Melbourne attack. His kick just clears there for Croft. Croft wide out towards the wing. Osborne in front, couldn't quite take the mark. Tingay keeps his footing and is rewarded. The little pass, I think it was meant for Viney. Viney has marked it left half forward. He's been called to play on. Goes back onto the left foot. The pass is good. And Lyon, causing the Bulldogs plenty of problems, has marked within scoring distance and an opportunity to kick his third.
Yeah, well, poor old Steve Prediuk, he's had a couple of horror first quarters to endure. He came through it pretty well last week. This man filling in admirably for the loss of Alan Jakovic.
Garry Lyon, again, you would think he could kick the distance, and he's got the perfect score, 3 for 3. Three goals to Garry Lyon. Melbourne lead 20 points to 10.
He has got a magnificent kicking action too, Garry Lyon. 69 goals now for the season. The same as Chris Grant at the other end of the ground. He's also kicked 69. And look at this. Not a worry in the world. Kicked right through the ball. He looked very relaxed. Didn't put any extra pressure on himself. Just kicked it naturally.
points the margin. Steins has a free kick out of the middle. The D's opening up with the biggest lead in the game to date. Neitz goes down towards Schwarz and Lyon. The latter has it again in the pocket. Somehow pulls it round his body miraculously. Lovell couldn't take the mark. They go to ground in the square. Tingay! One behind.
What great defence there by Footscray in the square, wasn't it?
Massive arms and legs. Tangled. And eventually one behind the result. 3-3 plays 1-4. So the defence being tested as Smith goes to the outer side. Croft's the target. Goes over the back. Was there a push there, Bernie?
Oh, I thought there was a push in the back of Matthew Croft taken out of the contest, but because no one touched the ball, it's a free kick now to Melbourne.
Lyon couldn't complete the mark. Predium and co defend.
Well, the concerns for Footscray before the game were obviously going to be Pike, Schwarz and Lyon. And also, at this stage, it's the way it's going.
And also the ruck contest, Robbo, which is 12 hit-outs at the moment to Melbourne, 2 to Footscray.
See what happens this time. Steins again just palms it with the left hand. Krediuk's in trouble. Ball spills free. Lovell in towards goal. There's another one. Happy 100th, Andy Lovell. Gets his first and the D's fourth.
He's also one of Melbourne's goal kickers throughout 1994. Andy Lovell now has kicked 28 goals for the season. And they've got plenty of variety up on that forward line with Lovell with 27 goals, 28 goals now. Lyon with 69 goals. Pike has kicked 25 goals. And also David Schwarz. So they've got plenty of goal kickers.
Krediuk down behind play in the hands of the trainers as Melbourne go forward from the centre bounce. Knocked forward by Malloy. Liberatore under a bit of pressure. Can't get past Lovell. Atkins feeds the hand pass out. Hunter throws his right foot at it. Out towards centre wing. Taken by Stephen Phoebe. Over the top to Lovett. That's Brett Lovett. This is Tingay. A neat little left foot pass finds Viney. Viney outside 50. Kicks into the pocket. Lovell's marked. And he's inside the line. So Andy Lovell will have the chance now to kick his second goal within a minute and a half.
Krediuk doesn't know where he is, I don't think.
Richard Osborne coming off the ground also, so there's a change there. Scott Allen coming on for Footscray.
Lovell shooting for goal from that left forward pocket. What a beautiful kick, hits the post. What have you seen with Krediuk, Sandy?
Well, he's walking around almost looking somewhat concussed or very badly dazed. He was slung to the ground. You can see his head hit the turf pretty hard. He's up and gingerly walking round, but by no means 100% as Smith brings it back into play once again. Big pack of players. Tingay having an influence on this game. They're moving it pretty well. Lovett goes in the middle. Dyson will chip it away at goal. In towards full forward it goes. They're running hot at the moment. Kevin Dyson gets his first.
All the concerns we mentioned before the game, there's Steve Krediuk in the hands of the doctor, the club doctor there, Tim Hurren. But all the concerns we mentioned are falling into place, certainly around the midfield. Melbourne much better in that area. They've got plenty of medium-sized players. They're not worried about one or two. And also in the ruck, the centre breaks in favour of Melbourne also.
Well, on this occasion, Scott West can force it a little bit forward there. Cameron and Norrish. Ball spills now for Glenn Lovett. Handball over the top. Gets it back to Stephen Phoebe. His kick goes towards half forward, but it's well marked by Croft for Footscray. Bernie with Krediuk in a little bit of trouble. Should he have a spell on the bench for 2 or 3 minutes?
Well, they may be worthwhile thinking about putting Keenan Reynolds back to fullback and let Steve Krediuk recover. Robbo, that'll be worthwhile thinking about.
Well, Reynolds was in the game there. He took the mark, got it to Stanfield, who in turn has passed it to Footscray's only goal kicker at this stage, Nigel Kellett. So he has this kick. Osborne having a spell on the bench, but Kellett in the action for his second goal. It's a pretty good kick by Kellett, but it's just off to the left and through for a behind, right on the quarter-time siren. So Footscray, with the job in front of them, Melbourne have outplayed them in the first term. and lead 5-4-34. Footscray 1-5-11.
Down by 23 points, 5-4, plays 1-5. Stanfield goes it alone, but who's going to win it out of the centre? It's locked up, and West can't get away. Another bounce. The winner earns a trip across the Nullarbor. Michael Malthouse is here today with cohorts Tim Jess as Lovett sends them down towards Lyon again.
It's a beautiful kick from Glenn Lovett. He didn't go for too much. He just placed it out in front, allowed Garry Lyon to run onto it.
I mentioned Tim Jepp here and also Stephen Nash with Malthouse looking at these two sides. At the moment they'll be having a close look at the Demons, and in particular Garry Lyon. There's number 4 for Lyon. And there is the West Australian and West Coast Eagles contingent. They'd be impressed, Bernie.
There's 4 goals straight now to Garry Lyon. He's making the most of the opportunities, something Footscray didn't do early in the match when they had the ascendancy. But not much Steve Credier could do once Garry Lyon had made the lead, which is, of course, the forward's advantage, getting that couple of metres break.
Well, it's so important, the centre breaks on the big ground. Stanfield gets his right hand to it, but this is Tingay coming up for possession number 9, now possession number 10. Hand pass for Brett Lovett. Lovett back onto his right foot, kicks it towards full forward. At the back, Credier backed himself, went for the mark. Southern's got the football. Now Croft, well tackled. Ball spills for Glenn Lovett. Gets it back to wide to Viney. Now it's Matthew Phoebe. He's a natural left footer. He kicks with the right foot, but misses off to the left. So Melbourne doing the attacking at the start of the second quarter, preparing for an entry onto the playing field is Brad Nicholson for Footscray. So we'll have a close look to see who maybe Credier, who looks as though he's coming in the direction of the bench with the Footscray runner, as Smith kicks in to the far side. Good distance with the kick, but the ball punched back. It's gathered by West, looking for Cameron. Cameron needs to get into this play if Footscray to be competitive. West tackled by Viney and he's dumped unceremoniously, and the ball spills over for a throw-in. Still the Footscray runner speaks with Steve Credier.
Well, they're not sure what they're doing in defence at the moment, because Rowan Smith's gone back to pick up Matthew Croft now has gone back to pick up Garry Lyon, and Steve Credier is on Martin Pike.
From the throw-in, Irving doing it. Lovett at the back, gets the hand pass away to Todd Viney. Viney spears it into Lyon.
And that'll be 50 metres, thank you, Matthew Croft, and a certain goal to Melbourne.
This will be number 5.
5 goals straight it will be now to Garry Lyon as Footscray takes off Steve Credier, who was carved up early by Garry Lyon, and coming on is Brad Nicholson, who spent most of 1993 playing at full-back. There's the replay of that incident, and Matthew Croft very late.
Lyon directly in front. The D's are on fire. 5 goals to Garry Lyon. 7-5, plays 1-5.
Well, I don't think it would matter at the moment who was playing full-back, because the ball's been delivered perfectly into that forward line. Garry Lyon leading beautifully. And here it is again. Lyon on the lead, takes the mark. Croft very late, and giving away a 50-metre free penalty there, assuring Melbourne and Garry Lyon of his 5th goal, Melbourne's 7th.
Well, still with 18 minutes remaining in the second term, Garry Lyon has now kicked 5 goals for Melbourne. What are we going to see here? A slaughter or a Footscray fight back? Johnson.
They just cannot get the ball out of the middle at the moment, Robbo, can they? Looking at the ruck hit-outs, 16 hit-outs to 4. There's Steve Credier.
Well, I thought he should have been taken from the ground. Immediately they thought he was in a little bit of trouble down there at the other end of the ground in the first term. This is Lovell for Footscray, for Melbourne rather, and Schwarz is marked. Melbourne players running everywhere. Schwarz goes to the goal front, looks for and finds Pike. Not paid. Play on, says the umpire. Kicked off the ground there by Nicholson. Steve Wallace under a bit of pressure gets it back to Nicholson. Nicholson trying to get the ball moving for Footscray. Reynolds back to Nicholson. In trouble. It's chopped off brilliantly by Sean White. His kick into the pocket this time is safely marked by Martin Pike. He kicks to the front of the goals. Have a guess who's on the end of it. Lyon couldn't take the mark. Hunter for Footscray. Kicks it to a vacant wing area. The kick not all that brilliant. Johnson tries to tap it to Atkins' advantage. Atkins, down goes the Footscray player. A solid bump there by Irving. The ball spills back to Atkins. Atkins' short pass is effective. The mark is taken by Stanfield. He kicks wide. Johnson approaches 50 metres. Can he outrun? He's been tripped. He gets up to his feet. Kicks to the front of the square. The mark taken by Sean White.
Well, I still think Richard Osborne would be a better option up in that forward pocket playing on Sean White.
Neats takes the mark, then plays on. Melbourne doing everything right at the moment, although Dyson under pressure. Neats backs him up nicely and goes with a long kick back towards centre wing. Lovett is there, recovers ahead of Hunter, gets the hand pass away, but Viney under pressure. He tried to shrug the tackle, he couldn't, and he's been pinged.
Scott West has been Footscray's best player so far.
Been a real little goer, Scotty West. Wallace towards half forward. Melbourne again with the numbers. Phoebe. And Norris just sees it over the line.
Look, I know it's easy to be critical from up here, but Mark Hunter should have done a lot better with that kick to the forward line. If you bomb away like that, it just sets it up for the defenders.
That's been his problem right through. And that hand pass from Simon Atkins really set up Steve Wallace.
From the throw-in. Down towards the forward pocket region. Again, the Demons have the numbers. Phoebe will get away. Setting up the hand pass.
Osborne back on the ground.
Norris, a tumbling punt back towards the half-back line. No one at home for Melbourne. Wallace, from a standing start, pumps it long in towards full forward. Fisted away from Grant and taken over the boundary line. Throw in Footscray's right forward pocket. They so desperately need a goal.
Well, they can't afford to have Osborne sitting on... Well, there he is. He's off. I said about Osborne. Scotty Allen's been taken off. Osborne is a much better option in that forward line.
They've kicked just the one goal to date. Lovett, there is Osborne, as you were talking about him. He's in that pack.
Well, he's a goal-kicking forward. He's not going to kick any goals from the interchange bench.
3 Melbourne blokes tackled him then. Gang tackling, good sign for the Demons.
From the ball up, Norris gets the hand pass away. Kellett goes in but can't get the football out. Liberatore, was he leg? Melbourne fans think not. The umpire thinks so.
Just having a look at the Footscray defence now. Keenan Reynolds is playing with Garry Lyon. And Nicholson is picking up Martin Pike. There's that free kick against Norwich. He was legged.
Great decision.
Yes, no doubt.
This for the Dogs' second. They desperately want it. He's kicking from 42 metres. Swinging back. Hasn't quite got the legs, and it's belted over for one behind.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Now, that's really where Footscray's let themselves down today, because they've had a number of chances. A shot from goal, 4 goal from about 40 metres or so. They've got to nail those.
Yes, I think Liberatore may have thought that he was kicking with the aid of a bit of a breeze there. He seemed to lay back on it. Now this is Phoebe, Matthew. He's kicked towards the wing. Ball spills now for Johnson. And good work there by Tingay to knock it over. Johnson, just a youngster in the Footscray side, graduating from the under-18 competition. Irving doing the ruck work. Scotty West gets his left foot to it, but not far enough to clear that pack. Glenn Lovett with sure ball handling. Free kick to Footscray, indicating a throw in that passage of play against the Melbourne player.
They also, Footscray at this stage, need a lot more out of Leon Cameron, one of their playmakers. He's been really cited.
Well, it looks as though he's being picked up by one of the Phoebe boys.
Stephen Phoebe.
The kick by Stanfield has been well marked.
Well, Matthew
by
Phoebe.
Johnson.
No, Matthew Phoebe's now on Cameron.
Johnson at right half forward. Kicks in towards centre half forward. Marking contest. The ball spills to the back. Melbourne have got plenty of players there. Stephen Phoebe in trouble. Lovell. Ball goes back. Neats looks very, very casual back there. The kick for Steve Wallace. He couldn't take the mark. Spills now for Rowan Smith. He's harassed very nicely by Malloy.
He's been good with his pressure, Robbo, that boy.
Like to see Malloy and Danny Southern have a bit of a dash at each other. It'll be a good contest.
Melbourne at the moment by 35 points. Irving wins it with the right hand, but picked up by the speedy Kellett. 70 metres out, in towards full forward, and Neat's got a hand to it. Look at that one. from Norwich, straight out of bounds on the full. So they'll get a chance.
Very little thought went into that kick from Norwich. It's become an art form to just dribble the ball over the boundary line as a defender, a defensive ploy.
Brad Johnson has the chance to add to the Footscray score. He's on a pretty tight angle though, this youngster.
Umpire would be ridiculous, because if he put him on the proper angle, the kid would be in the front seat of the members.
35 metres out. He's given it a chance, but he's pushed it across the face and through for one behind. So they're doing it in ones at the moment, where they so desperately need goals. 1-7. They 7-5.
And no let up for the Bulldogs, because Jimmy Steins is preparing to come back on.
2 goals, 1-2, 2 behind so far in this quarter. Sean White has it in the back pocket. Grand defender White, kicks towards centre wing. Wallace was held. Kevin Dyson unhappily sees him take the free kick and pass down towards Stanfield. Barry Stanfield. He is the big man department for Footscray today. Penetrating kick up towards full forward. Steins was in front but couldn't take the mark. Lovell shovels it out the back door. Here's an opportunity for Costa. Around his body he goes. They've broken the drought. Finally. Costa gets the Dogs a second.
He's been a good pickup, Kim Costa, this year, and to say that was a badly needed goal would be an understatement at this stage, because the Dogs need about another 5 to get back into the contest.
Well, they're not. I mean, Melbourne have had a lot of the play, but they're only 5 goals in front.
Yeah, well,
it's not a big margin, is it, in a modern day footy?
No, probably not.
Well, Melbourne lead 7-5 to 2-7. Footscray kicked their second goal about halfway through this quarter. Now they need to really stand up here. Dyson kicks to the front of the goals. Lyon again. Well, it's what Footscray really didn't need. Keenan Reynolds not happy. Not much you can do about it, Keenan. The ball is with Garry Lyon.
And this is the difference. When the ball gets into the Melbourne forward line, Robbo, you can almost certainly put down a goal if Garry Lyon's got hold of that ball. Here's the mark again.
He's a good kick, isn't he? You mentioned that, I think, in the first term, that his kicking action is
very relaxed.
Quite exquisite.
Right through the ball.
Well, let's not build him up too much, because he's got to finish it off, and it's hit the post, I think, isn't it? No, it's a goal. Well, they must have just squeezed that through for his 6th goal, and Melbourne answer that Footscray goal very quickly. They lead 8-5 to 2-7.
Well, that is a difference, isn't it? Into the Melbourne forward line, they've got a player of the calibre of Garry Lyon to take those marks. He's had plenty of room to work in also, Garry Lyon. He's had the room to manoeuvre, the room to lead into. That was probably his worst kick out of his 6, but through the middle anyway.
53 plays at 19. They go forward again through Glenn Malloy. Down towards right half forward. The bouncing ball drifts away from Costa, who gives chase. Slaps it to the right. And I think was hoping to eventually get it out of bounds, but Viney kept it in for the moment. Costa comes storming through again. Off to Cameron and now Wallace. Cameron and Wallace have both got to get into the game. He finds Croft just forward of centre. The Dogs need a couple of goals to stay in this game, and Grant takes the mark inside 50.
There's Primke playing on Chris Grant. Did a magnificent job last week when he was moved on to Kernahan, put him out of action.
Chris Grant would dearly love to celebrate his 100th game with a win. Kicks from 52 metres, leans back on a drop punt and has got it.
One goal, 1 now to Chris Grant. And the Bulldogs just hanging in there. It is a very good mark. He used his body. Primke tried to just nudge him under the ball, but Chris Grant was able to put the one hand up and then drag it in on the second attempt. 70 goals now for the season.
Well, the number 3s on this ground have now kicked 7 goals out of the 11 that have been kicked. 8-5 to 3-7. 10.5 minutes left. Away goes Hopgood, and kicks it away from himself and Robbie West over for a boundary throw-in. Centre wing, outer side. Centre break, certainly favouring the Demons. Well, we were quite wondered about the Footscray ability to contend with Steins and Irving, and there was Steins getting it down to Glenn Lovett, nearly taken by Smith. Well, Steve Wallace under a lot of pressure there. He's being awarded a free kick on centre wing. This kick has to be effective. It is. It's been marked by Atkins. Atkins plays on, kicks to the half-forward area. Good kick. And should that mark be paid? Yes, it is. I don't know whether it should have been.
A little bit iffy, Robbo.
But it's Osborne's ball, right half-forward for Footscray. He's perhaps too far out to score. It's 55 to 60 metres from goal. He's going to kick it to the square. Looks for the big torpedo punt. It's a tumbler into the goal front. Scotty West, back goes Malloy. Grant is underneath all that, and it's a Melbourne free kick. And the Demon fans are ecstatic.
Their third free kick.
As against Footscray's
11.
So he has it at fullback. Kicks towards the half-back line. He was looking for Steins, who slipped as he was about to spring. Sean White also fell to ground. Lovett goes storming through. Still going. Off to Tingay. They may set something up here for Dyson. Hurriedly onto the left foot. He kicks up towards the half-forward line. Schwarz the target. With him is Danny Southern. Schwarz taken out of it. Melbourne still have the numbers, but they run out of room. Throw in with Todd Viney's hand pass going over the line. Under 9 minutes remaining. Schwarz and Southern will contest the throw-in. Schwarz had front spot. Liberatore, a Lovett claimed by West. Gets the hand pass away. Back to Lovett it comes again. And a fine smother. Eventually sees the ball over the line. Brad Nicholson applying the smother on that Lovett kick.
Yeah, desperation there by Nicholson. Well done.
Alan Joyce concerned about his charges at this stage. They need a couple more goals if they're going to make a fist of this game in the second half. They're not out of it.
Former Melbourne
catching
champion
up to do.
Greg Wells,
one of your tennis partners.
Stanfield gets front spot. Lovell, his kick is partly smothered, as is the Wallace hand pass. He and Tingay go to ground with the ball. Steve Phoebe over the top of it.
Enormous pressure being applied by Melbourne around midfield. Footscray just have not been able to break clear on any occasion.
28 points is the margin. Steins, deft palm, finishes with Dyson. Centering kick, out comes Lyon and Schwarz, the big guns of the forward line. Reynolds tries to fist it away. Schwarz gives chase over. Says, I'll keep this in play. Oh, he does it beautifully. Proppy little hand pass. He tries to fetch himself. Southern applying the pressure, but he does well to get it away again to Lyon. They've got it inside 50. Kellett defends. Gets it away to Reynolds. Footscray out of trouble as Keenan bounces his way across the half-back line. Kicks up towards centre wing. It's fisted down towards White and Osborne. Osborne's kick is over the line. Well, he had taken the ball over the line. There'll be a throw-in on centre wing. Outer side. With 7.5 minutes remaining. Peter Road, owner of the 41 Guernsey, Robbo. Throw in on the outer side. Wallace, short kick.
Wallace forces it forward. This is Richard Osborne. A thumping kick to the goal front. Grant at the back, couldn't take the mark. Neats, no, it's Norwich now for the Demons. A little right foot kick along the boundary line. Kellett, can he keep it in? Yes. Stanfield breaks the tackle. Good positive football for Footscray. His kick will be marked in the square by Brad Johnson. Now, what sort of an angle is he going to be put on? Not too bad.
Won't be severe. A clever play over on the wing there by Nigel Kellett, just tapping that ball. It looked like it was going out of bounds to Stanfield.
And Stanfield was quite determined, wasn't he? Johnson kicks the goal. So Footscray, with consecutive goals, their third and fourth, and they trail 4-7 to 8-5, so still a ball game here at the MCG.
Yes, it's not out of the question by by any means at the moment, as we see Stanfield burst through. It could have gone to either Croft or Johnson. But anyway, Johnson, who's been a very good first-year player for Footscray, finished it off.
22 points the margin, 6.5 minutes remaining in this first half. Lovell's kick down towards the half-forward line, cut off by Rowan Smith. A hand pass away to Danny Southern, who sneaks away from Schwarz. He goes up towards centre wing, and Scotty West. They've got the players now. Can they get a run on? Up to half-forward. Grant comes flying over the top. Stanfield couldn't take it cleanly at the first attempt. Does so at the second and kicks a goal! Back come the Duggies! Oh, a big passage of play by Barry Stanfield.
Well, he's been involved in the last 2 goals, Barry Stanfield. And now Footscray, they've really bounced back into this contest. 16 points the advantage now to Melbourne after they'd really dominated for about 1.25. Well, Barry Stanfield, yeah, Robbo, just give me the sign there that Stanfield's playing a very good game and being involved in those last 2 goals.
Just a very clever kick in the finish too by Stanfield. Steins tackled by Atkins. Ball spills for Brett Lovett. Goes to half-forward, and Southern, is he rewarded? No. But he goes after it with determination. And Mark Hunter's well tackled. Well done there by Rowan Smith. Gets it to Reynolds. Reynolds gets it out towards the wing. Great effort by Norwich. A little bit too strong there for Johnson. The ball now forced into the hands of Todd Viney. The kick to half-forward. And a free kick is being awarded against Pike, I would suggest. And it will go to Nicholson.
Gee, it was wonderful defensive work there by Brad Nicholson, how he threw his body in to punch that ball away. But great desperation, put his body on the line.
Well, he's been very determined since he's come onto the ground. The kick out towards the wing. And holding on, I can't believe it. Where did you pluck that one from?
I thought he had both hands in the air, Stanfield. What was he holding on with?
Well, he's a genius. He's got 4 arms. The kick by Steins into the pocket has been marked by David Schwarz as Melbourne make a change.
And coming off is Stephen Phoebe, and on for Melbourne is number 22, and that's Jeff Hilton.
Oh, important here, Lyon. Oh, just missed. And Footscray fans with their hearts in their mouths as Garry Lyon makes his first blemish as far as goal kicking is concerned. He's now got 6-1.
It's Dean Irving sitting on the interchange bench. They started the game, both quarters in the ruck. Changes halfway through for Jimmy Steins.
Critical stage of the game now, under 5 minutes left. Nicholson was there, couldn't take it. Atkins gets the hand pass away to Wallace. They're starting to run. West has been one of their best. Look at this pass in towards Grant. No mark taken, and now
Grant is in trouble.
Grant is down behind play.
He got hit very hard, Chris Grant.
He's not moving. He's in real strife. Tingay takes it on centre wing. Stanfield chases, but Tingay gets his kick up towards the forward line. Lovett is there, couldn't take the mark. Schwarz also, and over the line, and still behind play, down on his back is Chris Grant.
Well, he really did a great job here, and unfortunately...
Now, how come he didn't get a free kick there? He was crunched, a player was coming head on at him. If it had been an ordinary marking contest, he would have got a free kick, as Steins did down here.
Atkins was given a free kick here. The ball will come back.
They've got the stretcher going out to take Chris Grant
they've got
off.
to stop the play then, don't they?
They must stop the play. Surely they must stop the play.
Yes.
I think the umpires are stopping it now.
Second umpire has just come forward and said, let's hold play.
Well, this is tragic for Chris Grant, playing game number 100.
Well, he seemed to be sandwiched between 2 players.
Well, Neitz coming back was the one that did the damage, I think, Sandy.
But he had to. He did have to convict himself, didn't he? I mean,
he did. There's no doubt about it.
Here it is again,
Oh,
Robbo.
goodness. He was met very heavily there by David Neitz. And that's a tragedy for Footscray. Robert West also being interchanged. Scott Allen coming on for him. But that's one of Footscray's trump cards. Off the ground there. He is unconscious, I would think.
Here's another angle,
and of course no free kick for that, but he's only been knocked out. But if he had been legged, touched on the leg, it would have been a free kick. But
well, the big crowd here have just seen it replayed on the
I cannot believe it. I cannot believe some of the decisions. And
you could hear the oohs and ahs. There's Chris Grant, unfortunately.
He's unconscious, Chris Grant. Champion young player.
And what a way to have to remember your 100th game. Nevertheless, play goes on. It's on centre wing. Primke tries to get through, loses the football. Liberatore, as usual, down there, burrowing in, trying to get it out. Todd Viney as well.
And you just never know how this affects maybe the side that's trailing. It could lift them, and the side that's leading may affect them too.
Under 4 minutes left. Lovett marks. Glenn Lovett floats a drop punt up towards the half-forward line. Schwarz!
Great mark.
Controlled it initially with the one hand and did it beautifully. Passes into the pocket. Wanted Lyon. Rowan Smith tidies up for Footscray. They defend here. Now they've got some space here. Barry Stanfield can run. Viney's the only one within coo. He can go over the top here, lure Viney, but no, he takes the kick instead, and he kicks it wide. It may not have been the right option as Sean White pushes towards the boundary line and safety.
Well, he completely wasted that, Barry Stanfield. He could have drawn the man there, Todd Viney, popped it over the top to Lyon Cameron. 25 hit-outs to Melbourne, 7 to Footscray.
Boundary throw in left half forward for the Bulldogs. Steins gets it out, not far enough. This is Wallace. Cameron now.
Critical fumble, Robbo.
Steins gets it clear, not far enough. This is Scotty West doing a terrific job for the Bulldogs. Stanfield, this time the handball for Callett. He can't outrun Sean White. Croft gets it. Stanfield, kick it quick. He's down. Matthew Phoebe, but this is Osborne. Osborne for Footscray. He's hooked kick to the front of the square. Oh, West up high. Goal kick by Johnson. Bullies alive. Second goal kick by Brad Johnson. And that's what I was talking about with Chris Grant off the ground. No Ilya Grigging, no Scotty Wine, and the Bullies fire up and get their 6th goal. They trail by just 11 points.
Oh, this is fantastic. Unfortunately, they've lost their trump card on the forward line. Osborne now will be doing their full forward leading. But the Bullies 11 points and with plenty of spirit.
11 points the margin, and we've got a ball game. Melbourne too have a free kick in the middle. Steins off to Andy Lovell. He floats a punt kick up towards Schwarz and Southern. One-hander again!
Good strength there shown by the big fella, David Schwarz. He held Southern out of the contest. He's a big boy, David Schwarz, playing at centre-half forward, 195 centimetres.
7 marks.
7 marks, that's terrific at centre-half forward.
And maybe the quick answer. Bends it back. David Schwarz gets his first goal, and the Demons steady at 9-6. The Footscray 6-7.
And a beautiful kick for goal. There he is, body on body. And Danny Southern's no weakling, I can tell you that. And just holding him off there in beautiful position to put the one hand up there and trap it with the second bite.
That is okay. You can hold a player out with one arm.
It was body on body.
Fair enough. Ruck contest. Steins tries to get it clear. Dyson to Tingay. Tingay's quick kick out towards half forward. High bounce gathered by Schwarz, starting to have an impact. His kick is magnificent. Lyon is marked in the right forward pocket for Melbourne. He's kicked 6, Garry Lyon. And if he can kick this in the first half of a final, 7 out of 10 would certainly be a match-winning performance at this stage. Lyon's kick is close, but misses. 6 goals, 2 to the Melbourne captain. Robert Di Domenico on the boundary line.
Yes, Rob. But the good news is that Chris Grant is conscious, and the doctor said that they will assess it at half-time.
Well, that is good news that he's conscious. Smith brings it out to Reynolds, who floats it towards Hunter.
Had hospital written all over it.
Stands his ground and is thankful that no one came charging at him. He kicks towards centre wing. Now it's up to the Dogs again to try and score in the last minute of this first half. They have closed the gap, but they would like to close it even further.
Cameron's been moved down to that forward position alongside Richard Osborne.
The ball on centre wing. Steins and Croft, won by the former, but taken away by the Dogs. Atkins passes up towards the half-forward flank area, and Stanfield takes the mark. He's had a very good quarter. Oh, Bazza, it's a little wide towards West. West recovers well. He's almost back to the centre, though. He gets clear of Tingay, goes back onto the left foot and pumps it long. They need a mark inside the last 30 seconds. Cameron at the back has been desperately quiet. Around he goes, but it's partly smothered. Play on will be the call. The kick is high. Osmond could mark it. 1, 2 Brabs couldn't hold it. Neither could Johnson, and Dyson should clear for Melbourne. Swings onto the left foot, comes up towards the half-back line. Tingay is there, run towards the boundary line, but no.
Great tackle.
By West and locked.
A wonderful tackle, tackled at the hips, tied him right up.
Only 6 seconds remaining. Someone's got to take a mark for Footscray to half forward. They can't. Jimmy Steins rocked like at half back. And he saves it. Saves Footscray from scoring again as the half-time siren sounds. So Melbourne in that quarter booted 4 goals, but Footscray hit back strongly. They outscored them, kicking 5. They did have their chances to make it even more. But what a first half it's been for the man in your picture, Garry Lyon. He's kicked 6 goals, 3 in the first, 3 in the second, and has been off target a couple of times. He's kicked 6 goals too for the half. Scotty West wearing number 14. Bernie has been quite sensational. 14 kicks and 3 hand passes.
Yeah, Footscray's best player by a street. There he is, number 14. Only a young player, but doing a magnificent job. We saw him lay that tackle there